Hey guys, this week we're going to do a little breakdown of Rochester's most iconic hole, number 11 at Chilai. The locals refer to this one as 911. It comes in at 911 feet, and you can't really win a tournament on one hole, but you can definitely lose a tournament on one hole, and this is one of those holes. It's got OB the entire way on the right side, and there's a choke point you can see over my shoulder at 250 feet that can block you off on your second shot and turn a decent looking tee shot into basically just a pitch out on your second shot. All right, so I'm going to break down hole 11 with 4 different strategies. First off, I'll go with how I always play the hole. I'm definitely not your typical player. I've got a strong overhand, so I usually just throw a thumber on the first shot to get past the choke point and then go from there. I've probably got about 20 tournament rounds on this hole at this course, and I've only went OB I think one time when they had the green, the backside of the green roped OB. So I've had pretty good luck on it, and this is the strategy that I've always used. Alright, so here's where my drive landed. For those of you that played here a lot, the little crossover path is about 400 feet. I lasered my drive to 330 feet. So that means I've only got 570 to the basket, which for me is pretty easy in 2 shots. Now, when I'm in a good position like this, my strategy is going to be to throw a stable distance driver just down the middle and then have an easy third shot into the green. Alright, like I said, from this distance I'm not trying to get crazy. I know I'm not going to get there in one shot, so I'm just trying to put something in the fairway and line up my final shot into the green. That'll do. It's a little behind the pine tree, but should be pretty easy. So that was just what I was trying to do on my second shot. I lasered. I've got about 225 left to the basket. So that was about a 350-foot second shot, and it's left me with a pretty easy forehand or a little turnover backhand shot into the green, which this is just what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to be about this pine tree distance after 2 shots. That's up there in the circle. Should be a pretty easy putt for a birdie. So this is all I've got left for the birdie. Only like a 10-footer. This is what I'm looking to do every time I play this one. Okay, so that was a birdie 4, pretty easy for me with being able to go over the top on the first shot. I think anyone that's trying to get a 4 on this hole, by far the hardest shot is the tee shot. It's got the most chance of going OB early and not advancing your throw at all. The second shot definitely has the opportunity to go OB on the right side, but if you go OB on the right side, you at least get to advance all the way up to where your disc went. So obviously not everyone has the overhand to throw a 300 plus foot overhand over the gap. I realize that. But for me, it's the easiest way to get past the gap with little opportunity to go OB. And if you noticed, I didn't throw any really big shots there. About 330 off the tee, about 350 second shot, and then just about 220 feet for the third shot. So it takes me 3 shots to get here, but I don't necessarily have to do them in that order. And I don't think enough players think about the math when they are breaking down a long hole like this. I could very easily go 220 off the tee, lay up in front of the gap, then throw 330, 350, or 350, 330. It just, you can break it down however you want. And I think for players that are throwing 300 feet or under, it's not even really worth it to try to hit the gap, because if you're maxing out at about 300 feet and you're trying to hit that gap that's at 250, I would say hitting that small of a gap at close to your max distance is probably not too high percentage of a shot. So I think for a lot of players, if you're throwing under 300 feet, the best strategy is going to be to lay it up short of the gap and then throw a big second shot, big third shot, big fourth shot, and then hopefully have a putt for 5. Because if you're throwing under 300 feet, it's going to take you 4 shots to get here anyway. And probably your last shot is going to be a shorter shot, but the last shot is probably the easiest shot. It's wide open. If you flip that and have your first shot be a short shot, you take the OB chances out of play on the first shot. So we'll go back to the tee and try that strategy out. So we're back at the tee, and now I'm going to try to play the hole how I think more players should play it, especially if you're maxing out about 300 feet. I'm going to take a layup shot off the tee, try to go about 220 to 230, so I'm just behind the choke point, and then I'll be able to throw a bigger shot on my second shot and not have no issue with being pinched off or being OB. So this is just short of the 250-foot tree. I managed to put it right in the middle. So if you're going to push it this close, you really want to make sure it's in the middle. I would probably suggest being a little shorter than this, just to give yourself more of an angle in case you are off on the left side. You can see from here how much better of an angle I have, especially as a right-handed thrower, just to throw a 250-foot hyzer. If you're not throwing more than 300 feet, you're really never going to be playing this hole for a 4 anyway. So if you're playing it for a 5, to get to the green, you only need 4 225-foot shots. So if you can throw 225 straight, that's the way to do it. You don't need to try to get that extra 75 feet off the tee, because you run the risk of going OB right, or getting stuck behind these trees on the left. So I went a little low on that second shot, but in 2 shots I've covered 431 feet. I've got about 480 left to the basket. And now this is where you can start to try to throw a little bit longer shot, because there's no OB on the left side. And as a righty, you've got a lot of room to work. All right, here we go. So after 3 shots, I'm about just a little over 700 feet. I've got just under 200 feet left to the basket, and was never really in danger of going OB at any point. And here we go. We've got just a 7 or 8 foot tap in for a nice easy 5. All right, so that was a totally different way of playing this hole. I went putter off the tee and got about 450 feet. I threw a fairway driver about 250 to 275 feet on my second shot, which is, I would say, pushing the distance for the amateur level beginners. And then that left me with a wide open straight putter shot into the green. Now obviously I'm a pro level player and I'm throwing putters very accurately, but I think even beginners can throw putters pretty straight if they're not trying to get a lot of distance. So I would suggest, if you play this hole a lot, try it out and keep track of your scores and see if it helps your scoring average at all. All right, we're back at the tee again, and this time I'll do a pro strategy that I would say most pros that throw around 400 feet play on this hole. We'll start out with the big hyzer around the choke point to get us into play after the first shot. So we got a bit of a skip there, and I'm off on the left side of the fairway. Lasered it, and this stone path is actually about 350 feet, not 400. So I'm about 360 off the tee. Kind of out of position to go for anything big here, but a pretty easy hyzer angle for the second shot. And here we are again, just a little bit short of the pine tree. So that puts us, I don't know, about 230 feet away after 2 pretty basic hyzers for someone that can throw about 400 feet flat. You can throw a 350 foot hyzer. Pretty easy to get into position on this hole. And there we go, we got another tap-in birdie after playing this one pretty safe. Just hyzer, little straight putter shot, in for a birdie. All right, so there's the pro strategy. If you can throw 400 feet, just throw an overstable disc on a huge hyzer around the gap, land a little bit on the left side hopefully, throw another big hyzer, then throw a straight shot into the green. This is a very hard hole if you don't throw 400 feet, mainly because of that first shot with the choke point. All right, we're back at the tee. We're gonna go for the 3. This one's not gonna be one take for obvious reasons. I'm gonna try to push about 500 off the tee and then get a good second shot of about 400 and hopefully get close. All right, that one was pretty big. We'll play that one. So here's a good look at the choke point. You see down low, it's about 30 feet wide. But if you're gonna throw a shot that's high enough to go really far, it probably cuts down to about 10 feet wide you've got to hit. So it took me 5 throws, but I got a good one down the fairway. This is right about 450, so we've got about 450 left to the basket. But you can see I'm gonna have to hyzer flip something to get it anywhere near the basket. Can't throw anything left to right because I'm kind of pinched off by this left side tree area. So here's the second shot. This is actually the same disc I threw off the tee. Just lasered it 75 feet short. Definitely could have got there if I'd thrown it a little bit higher, but just a little too low out of my hand. But if you've got any kind of actual putt for 3 on this one, you're in a good position. There it is. That's 3 going 450 off the tee, and then like 380 second shot, and then a 75-foot putt. Went 5 drives, 1 second shot, and 2 putts. All right, that's all for this week, guys. Hopefully you look at this hole a little different now when you get to it. And if you're one of those players that's throwing around 300 feet, I would definitely consider laying up to the corner and playing safe off the tee, and then going bigger shot, second, third, fourth, to try to keep yourself in bounds. See you next week.